Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So happy Sunday. I don't know about the happy part, but it is Sunday. And we have more drama today. The contagion is still spreading. Today I have to talk about another Bitcoin exchange, Crypto.com, and how they accidentally sent $400 million to another exchange. Do we really buy this? Let's discuss this and more, and also talk about what's happening, what's the latest with the FTX saga. So, welcome, guys. Man, things are just one after another. Last night, I saw people tweet this, so I started investigating, putting things together, but ultimately we had one person, I don't know if he's the original person that actually found this or someone else, but we have someone named Connor that said, hey, why would Gate.io send crypto to Crypto.com 288,000 ETH back? You see the original tweet is unavailable. There's some kind of tweet that was deleted. But anyways, it was discovered that Crypto.com, you know right now how all these exchanges are doing the proof of reserves, right? Coming out with their fancy numbers, showing that they have this much funds and this and that. But we don't really know how much of it, how much of it accounts for, customer assets. We just know this is how much they have. But they're still working on that. But while this is going on, people picked up on the fact that Crypto.com sends 320,000 ETH to Gate.io. And then 5 to 7 days later, Crypto.com sends it back. But there's a couple problems here. Number one is they didn't send 320,000 back. They sent 285,000 back. So first of all, what happened to the remaining amount? Right? Like 35,000. What happened to that? And second of all, this was during the time when Gate.io was coming out the proof of the reserves. Now, they sent this on the 21st. So supposedly Gate.io did their proof of reserves on the 19th. So at least they have that, saying that, well, we already showed what we have even before Crypto.com sent it, right? In theory, okay? At least that's what it states in their report. Can we really trust that number? I don't know. But, Kris, who is the CEO of Crypto.com, replies and says, it was supposed to be a move to a new cold storage address, but was sent to a whitelisted external address. We work with the Gate team and the funds are returned. New processes and features were implemented to prevent this from occurring. Okay? So basically, there's two things to take out of this, and you could believe one way or another. One is they really did accidentally send $400 million worth of ETH to a competing exchange. They had no safeguards whatsoever that allowed them to send close to $500 million worth of ETH to an unknown address. They say whitelisted address, but they didn't obviously know where it went. Why would you send 400 million ETH to a competing exchange? Did they really know it was Gate.io's, or was it a user? Could have been a burn address. Who knows, right? So at the very least, this shows the incompetency of Kris and Crypto.com security measures. So even if this had nothing to do with proof of reserves or anything else that's going on, it shows you how bad their system is. So at the very least, I think Kris needs to take responsibility for this. He probably should resign. Despite everything that's going on, right? We don't need another exchange to go under. So even if it had nothing to do with proof of reserves, The simple fact that he accidentally allowed $400 million worth of ETH off the exchange to some unknown address that he didn't know about until later on, until a week later, tells you that this guy does not belong. This guy should not be CEO of Crypto.com, right? So that is actually the best case scenario. The worst case scenario is that he actually knew about it, and Crypto.com and Gate.io, they're doing something together. Okay, so that's not the only thing. So see, you can see here, Crypto.com sends to this address 320,000 Ether, 400 million. Okay, so Kris then responds very early today at 4:36 a.m. saying the e-transfers that generate so much fun and speculation on Twitter today were made 3 weeks ago. Okay, on 21st. And then Crypto.com, what is it? Okay. And then he's like, okay, confirm that Gate.io, right? They did their snapshot for their proof of reserves on the 19th, but we sent it on the 21st. So this is Gate.io's response. I'll get to this in a little bit, right? Fund movement from Crypto.com custody service only possible between approved and whitelist address attached to our cold wallets, our hot wallets, and corporate accounts at third-party exchanges. In this particular case, the whitelist address belongs to one of our corporate accounts in a third party instead of our cold wallet. Okay, so he's trying to justify that, okay, we knew this had to be a legit address because it was whitelisted, but we mistakenly marked it as a cold wallet rather than a third party exchange. In this case, Gate.io. We have strengthened our process and system to better manage these internal transfers. That's all there is to it. All of our systems are operating normally. That's it, guys. That's it. Basically, we fixed our issues, so you don't have to worry about the fact that I allowed $400 million to be transferred to an address that was a third-party exchange rather than our core wallet. It's all good, guys. It's all good. That is what Kris is trying to say. He's downplaying this so much rather than come on and said, hey, the buck stops with me. I apologize. This is a huge, egregious error on my part, and it will never, ever happen again. Where's the apology for this? None. He's trying to downplay like, yeah, this is every day. It happens all the time. It's all good. Where's the apology for this? Right now, while everyone is fearful, I don't know how he could just sit here and say, okay, it's fine. It's fine. Okay, now going to Gate.io. Gate.io, I don't know who their CEO is, but they're not very proactive. They're just posting this on their main Twitter rather than come from like the CEO's mouth. But they're like, yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. They keep putting these addresses, okay? Like, for example, all 320,000 ETH was returned. But that's not... The address they put is the address that Crypto.com used to send them back, to send to them. That's not the address where Gate.io sent it back to Crypto.com. They're just relisting the same address. Okay, so then they reply, again, to clarify, the ETH was returned to Crypto.com's wallets through multiple transactions. And then they list out another address. But then you go into the address, you see that, okay, this balance only has 285,000, but 320,000 was sent. Where's the remaining amount? You do 320 minus 285. Where's that? Where's that remaining amount? Where's that 35,000 ETH? Well, according to Kris from Crypto.com, well, we got it. We got it in a separate account. We got it in separate transaction. Where's the other 35,000? Why don't they post that address? Right? That is still unknown at this point. So again, Kris is like, oh yeah, everything's good. We got everything back. And Gate.io says, yeah, everything's good. We returned it. Where's that remaining 35,000? They don't provide an address for that. No one knows. No one knows. Right? So this is very, very concerning. And the fact remains, was it really accidental that a major exchange can send $400 million by accident, I don't know. You guys decide. For me, I don't think this is an accident. Their internal security must have required them to double check, triple check, have multiple people approve this. You just can't send that much ETH without people knowing, right? And here's the thing. You know these proof of reserves, these audits, right? Gate.io, the auditor they used for their snapshots, okay, is the same auditors that approved FTX proof of reserves. So can we really trust that? The auditor that audited FTX, same auditor that audited Gate.io and even Huobi. And there's some controversy with Huobi as well. But there's definitely something going on. And then people pointed out, or I'm sorry, not people, just Mario, he's been pointing out all the security that supposedly are in place for Crypto.com. So going back to this thing about how they mislabeled the address, it was an accident. There's basically zero chance that happened. Basically, multiple people, if not a whole team of people, knew this was happening. That's how bad it is. That's how bad it is. Okay? So this is the reason why CRO right now is tanking 25%. Because people do not trust what happened, nor do I. It's kind of one of those situations right now. It's like, it's almost becoming like a self-fulfilling prophecy. We know that bank runs are very dangerous to exchanges, okay? We know it happened to FTX, and they are bankrupt right now. Will it happen to Kronos or AK Crypto.com? I don't know. But seeing what they just did and playing it off like it's nothing, right? You can't expect anyone to really trust them at this point, right? And everyone on Twitter, everyone everywhere is calling for people to withdraw out of Crypto.com. And I got to say right now, it's better to be safe than sorry. But here's the thing. I'm really conscious of the fact that if everyone is saying this, it's self-fulfilling, it's going to cause a bank run, and then it's probably going to cause them to go under. So that's the predicament that we are in right now, right? But regardless, you got to protect your own funds. You got to do what's best for you. So if you don't like what you're seeing or hearing right now about Kris and Crypto.com and Gate.io, you do what's best and you take it out and you put in a hardware wallet. You go put in a ledger, you put in a trust wallet, you put whatever, right? But this whole situation is just really, really bad. And we'll see what develops from here. But there's just no way, in my opinion, I believe that this was accidental. And it's worse that Kris is not taking responsibility for it and saying, yeah, it's all good. I don't need to apologize. We got this sorted out. Trust us, guys. I mean, that makes it even worse, okay? Much worse. All right. Anyways, there's more to the story than that. There's more story. So, a lot of people, of course, are investigating. Then you have, well, Crypto.com also withdrew $210 million of USDT from Binance and $50 million USDC from Circle. Okay, so this was before their proof of reserves. Now, if it's theirs, I don't know. Maybe they just wanted to move it. They just want to move it so it's all in one basket so they can show their proof of reserves, right? I mean, you give them benefit of the doubt. It's still theirs, right? But to withdraw all that in a short amount of time raises questions, okay? And even CZ chimed in and saying, if an exchange have to move large amounts of crypto before or after they demonstrate their wallet addresses, it's a clear sign of problems. Stay away. So he's referencing this and everything else that's being moved around right now because people, or I should say exchanges, are desperate to kind of show their reserves. So even CZ's like, hey, if these guys, and he's not naming names because he doesn't want to cause more FUD, you know, towards any particular exchange, although he said he was going to be more forthcoming in the future. But the very fact that, in his opinion, that if an exchange has to move large funds around left and right before or after, that's no good. They shouldn't have to do that, right? So I'm agreeing with that as well. You shouldn't have to do it. So again, CZ is, again, calling or trying to call some of these other exchanges out. And then he tells people, trust wallet, your keys, your coins. Basically, he's saying, you know what? Hold your own crypto in your own wallet. It doesn't have to be Trust Wallet, though that is a great mobile wallet. Get a Ledger, get a Treasure, right? There's a ton of other mobile wallets out there that allow you to safeguard your own crypto with your own private recovery phrase, which you can derive your private keys from. So be very, very careful right now. All right. So there's that. Now, as for FTX and SBF and the saga, it continues on. Remember one of the hackers, I just covered this yesterday. A hacker, or maybe someone internal, decided to move a whole bunch of funds out, even though the regulators told them not to, right? So it was hacked. But they didn't know what they were doing, and they actually sent a lot of it to Kraken, and Kraken said they know who it is. And now Kraken has spoken with law enforcement, and they have froze accounts of FTX, Alameda Research, all of their executives. They're all frozen, and they're working with law enforcement. Basically, if they know who it is, they're going to turn them in, right? So that is what's happening right now. I don't know if other exchanges are going to follow through, but the Bahama authorities, they're looking into this. They believe there is criminal misconduct. And there's something before where FTX, for a short period of time, opened withdrawals for just Bahama residents, right? They said they were complying with the regulators. And then the regulators came out and said, no, we didn't tell them to open up withdrawals. So that was a lie too. So this whole thing is really, really blowing up at this point. Really blowing up. And yesterday, I did a video at night, right? A lot of you guys tuned in about how there's fingers pointing at SBF. He may have been the one that caused Luna to collapse, Three Arrows Capital to collapse, all of it in hopes of regaining about $8 billion worth of lost customer assets because Alameda somehow blew through it with leverage, through bad investments, whatever. So they had to give $8 billion worth of client assets to Alameda, and they needed a way to make that back. And they counter-trade Luna's collapse, counter-trade Three Arrows collapse, and counter-trade everything else that we may have seen since then. He could have been behind it all. That is just horrific. Horrific. So everything that we have experienced this year so far, all the bad stuff, could have all been perpetrated by one man, one company, SBF and Sam Bankman-Fried, or SBF and FTX, I should say. Obviously, right now, the exchanges on the Bitcoin Reserves on exchanges is dropping like a rock. Normally speaking, this is good, meaning that people are buying and taking and safeguarding their own crypto, right? But right now, we know it's a lot due to what's happening with FTX and now CRO and now everything else, right? $3 billion in Bitcoin left the exchanges. But overall, I would say this is good. People are learning to safeguard their own crypto at the very least. But it's bad because it brings such a bad name to crypto right now. It's spreading. It's spreading. Imagine, right? I mean, right now we have FTX Arena, right? And the Miami Heat are really angry about it, trying to remove their name. Who else made a big arena purchase? Crypto.com. I can't even imagine if somehow Los Angeles says, hey, we want to remove that. We want to remove that name, right? How bad would it look that two of the biggest exchanges that bought naming rights now have to remove them a year later? It's just an absolutely horrible look right now for all of crypto. So the good thing is long-term holders, maybe even short-term holders, are learning to safeguard their crypto, being careful, right, where they put their money. But the repercussions of this could last for a while. Now regulators are coming in. Of course, there's ties with SBF, with Gary Gensler, right? I've talked about that. Also connections with the Democrats because SBF is the second largest donor, right? I mean, there's that connection. So, I mean, he was trying to play chess behind the scenes, and I think CZ was just a better player and took him down. But there's just a lot of stuff, moving parts going on. It's just really, really bad. Really, really bad. Okay, but hang in there, guys. I know this seems scary. We went through this back in May and June of this year. We had Luna collapse, Three Arrows collapse, Celsius collapse, Voyager collapse. Now we have BlockFi collapse, FTX collapse, right? So we have gone through this, but this has been a bad year overall. And I can't help think, had we not had SBF in the position that he was in, and he was not playing around behind the scenes, would we have this kind of downturn, right, with Bitcoin and crypto overall? I don't know. Makes me curious. But of course, this doesn't dissolve what Do Kwon did or Zhu Su did. They still had their hand in things. They still did things that was very risky, and ultimately it brought down their projects, right? But all signs point to one guy that kind of triggered it or started it all. Anyways, all right, let's do some Q&A. Yeah, and by the way, this is what it's looking like on crypto.com. Yeah, nothing but withdrawals at this point. All right, let's do, let me scroll up here. Let me see if I missed anything. Chance that BlockFi gets out of funds? I don't know. Yesterday I covered a BlockFi employee said the only reason why FTX bought BlockFi was they wanted their assets. They wanted their assets inside FTX to kind of cook their books. So if that's the case, and they already moved it, I don't know. I don't know if any of it's going to get returned. It's funny, I have a lot of CRO guys coming in saying, oh, I'm a hater. So I get you guys probably have large bags of CRO, but you think it's okay? You think it's okay that the CEO is so nonchalant about accidentally sending 400 million, not being apologetic, saying it's all good, like that's normal. That's normal activity. Like, it's funny how some people are so I guess not seeing the red flags that this presents. Solana has good GitHub adoption. It was SBF Golden Goose, something to think about. Prior to selling out, Multiverse X is a second GitHub project. Okay. Is that another project that you're trying to say that is good? That's on top of Solana? Franco, after all this damage to the market that's going to last a while, what can we do to stop a new SBF from happening? How do we know if there's a new SBF out there ready? We really don't. We don't know what a lot of these projects, what they have been doing going on behind the scenes. The only thing we can do is you got to pay really careful attention to what these guys, I guess what they're doing. And it's hard, right? A lot of money are swirling around behind the scenes. If we didn't have all these crypto detectives, for better or for worse, sometimes it's just pure FUD, but sometimes it leads to something, right? And if it wasn't for whoever that discovered that, 400 million worth of ETH was sent to Gate.io, maybe we would just think everything is good. But it's clear it's not. It should have never been done in the first place. Again, I see this hidden comment saying, George, you're turning nothing into something. Nothing? It's not even $4 million to the ETH. It's not $40 million worth of ETH. It's $400 million worth of ETH. And you're trying to pretend that's nothing? That's why I don't get the people that are trying to protect CRO right now. Like I said, worst case scenario, they're colluding with Gate.io. Best case scenario is the fact that, yeah, they're not colluding. It's nothing to approve reserves. But Kris and team are just idiots. But still, how could you let this happen under your watch? Keep in mind, Crypto.com is also an exchange that accidentally sent $10 million to a user. They didn't know about it for a year. The user spent $10 million, and then they sued them to try to get that back. They're also an exchange that let that happen, and they had no idea after it happened. So you can't excuse this type of behavior. If it has nothing to prove reserves, okay, so be it. But you can't excuse this. You can't just say, okay, don't worry about it, guys. It's all good. And what happened to the remaining Ether? Only 285,000 was sent back. What happened to the other 35,000 ETH? Still no address provided where the 35,000 ETH went. Gate.io didn't. They just listed one address that has 285. Where's the other 35,000? Still don't know where that is. Could we get a Sol video, analyze impact FTX collapse, SBF on Sol's future, big demand out there? I don't know how to even analyze that. Like, basically, you want a video saying if it's going to live on. I don't know how you explain it. Yeah, I don't. Other than that, there's a lot of dApps that's still on board, a lot of developers. The team is still doing what they can. They just had a big conference, unfortunately bad naming, called Breakpoint. But, you know, there's still a lot of things going on there. But regardless if FTX is in the picture or not, they're still a standalone chain. SBF doesn't own them. They just happen to own a lot of sold tokens. Randy, appreciate it. Coin Hacko. I have no idea what that is. What exchange that is. Never heard of it. Let's see here. Vincent, agree or disagree? Buying right now equals deadly knife catching. There's definitely a risk there. The contagion is still spreading. So there's definitely a risk. But this is why we DCA, right? Short term, we just don't know. A lot of volatility, external factors, macro factors. But we know when Bitcoin is down 70, 80%, crypto, a lot of good crypto projects down 80, 90%. It's a good DCA opportunity, right? But because of the risks and because you want to be in a long term, you don't want to go all in. It's like right now, you don't want to say, okay, I got all this money, I'm going to put it right in, right? Still, do it smart, spread it out. Maybe set a schedule for yourself. Cal, appreciate it. Craig says, I hope CRO will be fine. I do believe CZ is trying to take out his competitor. Why would Kris put out their own address if they had malicious plans? Sometimes it's not malicious. Sometimes it's accidental. That's the thing. A lot of these exchanges, they put out their address saying, oh, okay, yeah, here's our address. But then they forget later on that people know about that address. Kris didn't voluntarily give out this information. He only gave out this information because someone else spread it. Someone else, I think it's Connor, is the one that looked at it and then made Kris respond. Kris didn't voluntarily say, hey, oh, by the way, guys, I sent $400 million to Gate.io. Don't worry about it. And they sent it back. He didn't voluntarily share that information. It was only because someone called him out on it, then he responded. But I do hope you're right. And I do hope CRO does survive. I hope Crypto.com does not fall. Because imagine the repercussions that would have to have two major exchanges fall. On top of everything else that fell, right? The regulators, Gary Gensler, is going to be licking his chops. Although Gary Gensler, he has his own problems. He's connected to SBF, and people know that. Congressmen have been calling him out, and everyone else in between has calling him out too. So there's that. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. And I get a lot of people don't trust CZ. And I think that's warranted, right? Because now you have one guy that basically Binance that controls everything. But that's why I say you look through some of these guys and their actions. You look at how big Binance is. Have they ever taken out a Super Bowl ad? No. Have they gone out and made huge partnerships and bought like naming rights to stadiums? No. Has CZ come out and been very arrogant, and cocky with his tweets? No, not that I recall. Maybe he made some stupid tweets, but not arrogant, cocky. So that's why I think CZ and Binance is different than all these guys, because they didn't try to go all out and spend all their money when things were good in 2021. And now they're all kind of like struggling in 2022, right? So, I mean, you know, you got to judge these guys by their character. Like I said, you don't know what's really behind the scenes. Maybe CZ's made some really stupid moves behind the scenes too. We just don't know. It hasn't leaked out yet. Maybe it will. I'm not saying we should all put our trust in Binance, but I'm just saying, you know, it's hard to judge what these guys are about. But I guess in hindsight, there were a lot of red flags. Mari says, I'm unable to withdraw my crypto to Trust Wallet because it says 24-hour withdrawal lock has been enabled. What does this mean? It means exactly what it sounds. There's a 24-hour withdrawal lock. I didn't know that. I don't know if that's something that was always in place or it was new. I don't know. You guys tell me. Moving closer towards a regulated crypto world, Guyan says, I think so. I think the regulators are going to pounce on this opportunity and try to regulate as much as they can, unfortunately. Now, I think some regulation is going to be good for consumer protection, but hopefully it doesn't get overbearing, which probably, you know, all the Congress people and senators and everyone will probably try to push it that way. But yeah, I don't know what's going to come, but probably more regulations for sure. Delia, sorry if I butcher your name, but appreciate it. Rich, Luna, SBF, Voyager, etc. All bummer. A lot of investors log big. Try to look at this learning lesson and a chance to buy at a good price. Well, I think that's accurate. I think that's a good positive outlook. To think that yes, we've lived through this. First of all, you can pat yourself on the back for living through all this. Second of all, we're weeding out the bad actors. So long term, what we have are the good actors. Okay, so there's that. So that's the best way to look at it is short term, there might be pain. Long term, you know, we're getting rid of the bad and keeping the good. So that's the best way. Man, Mario is just like going nuts. He's nuts. I was on his Twitter Spaces for a little bit this morning. He had Brad Garlinghouse. He had CZ on for a little bit. A lot of guys in there, but you know they're trying to really uncover some stuff. 15 minutes ago, one of the first 100 employees at Crypto.com. It's almost impossible for $400 million to be accidentally transferred without manual approval and various checks. I was fired from Crypto.com as I had ethical concerns on how the company was run. Again, it's hearsay. It's from one employee, a disgruntled employee. So you got to take it with a grain of salt. But like I said, it's virtually impossible for $400 million to be accidentally transferred. And again, and Kris just saying, oh, it's okay. Being so nonchalant about it, not apologizing for it, not saying, I should have known better. I should have put a stop to this. I guarantee it'll never happen again. Nothing like that. Ben is, I don't know who this Dan Fredberg is. Oh, Chief Regulatory Officer at FTX. He was a general counsel. Interesting. Stan, get rid of the bad, keeping with the good. Can CRO go back up to all-time high during the next bull run? Let's see if they can survive this first. Galvin says, can't wait to watch a Netflix documentary. Yeah, it's going to be a good one. Bartley says, there won't be any actors soon. I hope that's not true. Let's see here. Any idea why Trust Wallet is going up? Probably because CZ tweeted about it. I mean, the Trust Wallet has some governance token. Never had, really, there's no use for it. I don't even know why they have a governance token, but they do, and I think people pumped into it because CZ talked about Trust Wallet. I mean, Trust Wallet is just a non-custodial wallet that you can safeguard your own crypto. I've been using it, and it's pretty good. One of the better ones out there. But there's other ones. There's other ones out there besides it. Chef, I read about Binance having more than half of its reserves in BNB. Thoughts? And yes, regulators are going to be saving hand. It makes sense. I don't know if that's true. Chef, they already posted their proof of reserve. So I don't believe, I looked at it. I don't believe that's true. But again, we don't have the full list of their addresses, which they say. Or maybe they did publish that already. But I think we can verify that ourselves. Salty Poet, do you feel like the long-term view for crypto changed after recent events? No, but I think for sure this is going to add a lot of regulatory pressure to the space. It is something that was highly talked about, before in 2017 during the bull run. People talked about, the SEC, CFTC getting involved and stuff, but overall the space was still very small, immature, right? Bubbles still happening. But because of 2020 leading into 2021, we had too many that took advantage and created systems that was just not sustainable, right? And we didn't know about, a lot of us didn't know about it. A lot of us lost a ton of money based on it. But now, because things aren't so good, a lot of those systems, unsustainable systems, are popping. So now, because of how big things are, we're not talking about just a few million or tens of millions. We're talking about hundreds of millions to billions to tens of billions now, right? So the regulators, they're about to jump in on this. So unfortunately, I think we're going to have a lot more scrutiny going forward. But as for the prospects of Bitcoin, blockchain decentralization, Web 3.0, I don't think those things change. But innovation may be harder now in the U.S., especially with a lot of regulations coming. J Bogey, okay. Taylor, how do you buy crypto without centralized exchange? Well, there are DEXs that utilizing a third party will allow you to onboard or on-ramp cash so that you could buy it from a DEX, but they're very rare, and most of it is still on centralized exchanges, the on-ramps. What are the chances Binance collapsing due to a loss of confidence in crypto? Could regulation bring it down? If all major sectors goes down, will Bitcoin maintain its price? No, obviously not. I've said this before. If Binance collapses, that would be equivalent of the Federal Reserve collapsing, and we don't want to see that happen. Bitcoin will fall much, much lower. Much, much lower. It will set us back as much as Mt. Gox did back in 2015, if not, or 2013, I should, if not more. Is Public a DEX? No. Are you referring to Public.com? Public.com is it's a brokerage that's also a crypto exchange. So they're kind of like, I don't know, kind of like Robinhood, so to speak. Should I hold ETH? Well, I still believe in ETH long term, but it really depends on your situation right now. Do you think, see, I don't even know what's going to happen with Robinhood, because FTX also bought 7% of Robinhood. 7 or 8%, I forgot. Somewhere in between. I don't know what happens with that. And hopefully, because of that purchase, you know, FTX didn't pressure Robinhood or Vlad into doing something that he shouldn't have. Like, for example, move crypto reserves to FTX custody. So hopefully something like that didn't happen. But I'm sure a lot of people's probably asking those questions right now. I don't know what media coin is. Never heard of it. I did not see Black Panther, so I can't tell you if it's good or not. 300 billion got out of the market. That's a lot. It is. It is a lot. It is a lot. I'm buying Ether when it reaches 100. Oh, man. I can only laugh at it. I'm not going to rule it out completely, but there's very little chance at this point, in my opinion. But I guess never say never. It happened before. It happened in 2020 when ETH dropped below 100. I don't think that's going to happen ever again, but I'll leave that door slightly open. Talk about Solana fall to $1. Bitcoin 14K by end of the year. Solana to $1. I don't think so. That's too big of a drop. If it fell down basically to that much, Solana would be dead. Basically, something that comes out of Solana that basically kills it. I don't think that's going to happen. U.S. exchanges are already regulated. It should be fine, right? They are very regulated. Much more regulated than foreign exchanges. But there's still, you know, there's still question marks on how much are they regulated. Do they need to do, you know, quarterly or monthly audits? Do they need to show how much reserves they have? Stuff like that. I'm not a lawyer, so I can't tell you. So I know that exchange brokerages operate very differently. They have so many requirements. But like exchanges, I don't know if they follow the same guidelines or not. I just can't tell you. Are DeFi wallets safe? Like, for example, what? Like a lot of the wallets, if you're talking about like project wallets, I would say so. I would say so. But if you're talking about like mobile wallets or browser wallets, anything that has the ability to export out your recovery phrase, so that's not stored on any centralized server, that's a good one. That's a good one. Do you think people will trust CBDCs now there's less trust in crypto? CBDCs are supposed to be from like the banks. So I don't know if people are going to trust them more or less. But CBDCs go against really what crypto is all about. So it's not really crypto. Would you also think, why do people think Sol is a good project? They constantly have network outages, seem like a reliable project. That's because it's the anti like Cardano. They move very quickly. They have a lot of outages, but you know, they do have a lot of users also. So it's always been like that. They've been struggling with network outages even before what's been happening with FTX. But yeah, I don't know. I'm still clean. I hope they will recover from this. It's not their fault that SBF invested so much in Solana, right? They are a separate chain. They really have nothing to do with them. So I'm still hoping that they pull through. Thoughts on ICP and its FTX role in its price? I don't know. Was there an ICP connection to FTX? I'm not aware of it. Talk about XRP. Will it go to $10 if it wins the case? I don't know. It's too early to be making that call. That case is not going to be ruled until sometime second half of 2023. What's your opinion on Coinbase? Do you think they're safe? I do think Coinbase is safe. Coinbase, I do think it's safe because first of all, they're in the U.S. They're the most scrutinized exchange in the U.S. And they're one of the oldest exchanges in the U.S. And Brian Armstrong, overall, he's a young guy, but he hasn't done any of the crazy things that some of these other young leaders have done. So I would think, yeah, they're safe. But right now, it's better to be safe than sorry. So if you have any doubts, you're scared of any of these exchanges, no matter how big they are, safeguard your own crypto. Put your crypto onto a hard wallet or a non-custodial wallet so that you can be in control of it, or at least half of it or some of it, right? So you don't put all your eggs in one basket. My treasure doesn't support alts I have. Where can I move them off? You may have to get others. You have to get other non-custodial wallets, like a mobile wallet or a browser wallet or a wallet from a chain, right? All these chains have their own wallet too, so you have to do a combination. All right, Dan. It's not really a sex, but I get it. I get it. All right, guys, I'm going to let you guys go. Get back to your Sunday, but right now, there's more drama. FTX drama still ongoing, right? We don't know if SBF has been taken by the authorities, but more and more stuff coming out about how they operated. Just not good. And also, we have some fear with Crypto.com and Gate.io, right? I presented my case. You guys decide what to do with it, okay? But be careful with your crypto right now. Just be careful. All right, smash on the like, subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys later. I don't know if I'm going to stream it tonight. I will have a market recap video of everything that happened this week. So there's a lot. And then and I'll see you guys tomorrow, 8:15 a.m. Central Standard Time. All right? Have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.